Get in on the action this season with Underdog's Pick'em game. Select higher or lower between 2 and 8 players and compete for up to 325 times your entry. Use code DIRECTOR when signing up to receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a free pick. Yo to Bolt fam, it's the Director. Chargers Mock Draft 7.0 about to commence. But first I gotta ask everybody, how you doing? Chargers fans. Been a minute since we've had, live Chargers football to look forward to. But like everybody else in the world, all NFL fans in the world, I have to say, I have been stupidly excited in anticipating the NFL draft, which is now just a few days away. Remember, I'm live streaming all 3 days. Usually hundreds of Chargers fans in here. It's a good time. Don't miss it. But the hype is real, man. And I think in particular this year, it's especially real considering how well the Chargers drafted last year. Joe Alt trading up for Ladd McConkey. Junior Colson still, a guy I'm super high on for this year. And then the mid-round picks, man. The corners. A great example of what can happen when you got a really good GM and front office in front of you. The Chargers about to go back to bat to get again this week to try and do it again. And man, I'm stupidly excited. So today we're going to do 3 mock drafts. You guys know how we do on the channel. Maybe the last one that we do before the draft. I'm hoping to get one live one in with you guys beforehand. But all 3 mock drafts definitely themed. The first one being my choice, the second one being what I think is going to happen, and the third one being more of a wild card, maybe a mix of the two. It should be a good time. Last chance to get your predictions in, get your declare your my guys and gems and hidden sleepers in the draft. Put those in the comment section below as we do get through. So before we do get things going, man, shout out to the sponsor Underdog. Use code DIRECTOR to receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Free pick for those who are interested. You newcomers, take advantage of that. It's a great way to support my platform while having some fun along the way. Before we do kick off, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content. Small amount of time you guys take to like, sub, and bell notification helps me out a lot. Let's get into it. Lights, camera, action.
Who's got it better than us?
Into the end zone, Charger fans are witnesses to history.
Your Chargers 7.0 mock draft. Exciting stuff, exciting days. More so, I'm just excited to get there, man. After all of the research and all the speculation, I think it's important for all of us to remember that this is one of those years, at least for me, and I hope more people feel the same way as I do. This is one of those years where I'm more than happy to kick back and see what happens, man. The Chargers did a pretty good job of rounding out the roster. I don't think there's any particular, position that's as stressful of a need as it was at the top of free agency. We got Mike Williams in the house for wide receiver. Tyler Conklin in at tight end. Najee Harris, certainly a good sign. You got some nose tackles to be looking at as well. Lots of good signings, I would say, to give us the freedom to really go best player available. And that's what I'm fully expecting the Chargers to do. And I have a lot of faith that, Joe Ortiz is going to get it right. He absolutely destroyed the draft last season with his success. And I'm looking forward as a fan to putting my feet up and letting the chips fall where they be and being excited for the picks. I think it's going to be really hard to mess up the first couple of rounds. He proved that last season. He's definitely capable of picking best player available. I'm hoping that's where we're trending for again this season. So let's go ahead and kick things off. Mock Draft A. This is my choice, okay? So if you guys are looking for a little theme here, I will be selecting the players. This is what I would do, independent of what I think the Chargers are going to do. We're going to save that for Mock Draft B. And you guys let me know which one of these drafts is your favorite. Of course, I wish we could do more trades, but, these drafts can take a long time. I don't want this video to be an hour long. So let's go ahead and start things off. No trades. Who's available to the Chargers at 22? There's a few good names still listed on the board here, man. Walter Nolan, Mike Green, Colston Loveland, of course. I think Luther Burden and Mika Buka, also two guys that are very strong candidates for the Chargers in the first round. Omarion Hampton, the player I selected when the chips were down, man, and it was time to be real. I was with 31 other creators in a huge mock draft simulation on Bleacher Report. This ended up being my best player on my board. I went with him, and honestly, very, very excited to think about his potential or even other running back potential in this draft. Would the board fall like this? I don't know. There's definitely room for things to be different. Starks ended up not going until the 32nd pick in the first round. As Araku, I don't even know if he was selected in the first round. But based on what I would do, and what I'm hoping that, the way the board falls, because there's some good, value here. Mike Green, certainly. Walter Nolan has climbed like crazy. He would certainly still be a player I would select. But quite honestly, it's going to be tough with these PFF mock drafts, seeing Colston Loveland on the board and not selecting him every single time in the first round, just simply because, this is what the Chargers need right now. We need that difference maker in terms of receiver on the field. And if we can get that from the tight end position, giving Justin Herbert that premium weapon that we're looking for over the middle, also freeing up some space for, Ladd McConkey and the other receivers on the field. I just feel like this is best case scenario. Do I think it's going to happen? I would give it like a 50-50 chance that Colston Loveland makes it to us at 22. And for that reason, I think in my mock draft, the director's choice, I will be selecting him in my personal choice mock draft here, mock draft A, as our first selection in the first round. Colston Loveland, just too good of a candidate, too good of a receiver, too different of a prospect in terms of like top, I would say, 15 or 20 prospects in terms of players in this draft. You got to take him at 22 if you get the opportunity. And that's what we're going to do here in round one. Round two, this is where things get interesting. Now, I don't think there's any secret that this is around the range that I like to go running back. I feel like this is maybe the best value you're going to find at running back. Of course, it's still round two. Very high draft capital you're spending on a player here. But most of these players, man, you're talking late first rounders. Trevian Henderson, I wouldn't be shocked if he goes in the first round in this draft. Cam Skattebo, I think it's a little high. I think PFF's got him a little high, but he could go in the second round. I wouldn't, be upset taking him here in the second round for the Chargers. Of course, let's actually just go to running back, because I think Benjamin Morrison is definitely a good pick here. Norman Lott is not bad. But I think 99% of the time, if I didn't take a tight end, I'm going to go running back. And, a lot of the best ones still on the board. Kind of shocked to see Quinshon Judkins go before Trevian Henderson. But, given the talent that's on the board in terms of running back, I love Cam Skattebo. I love Dylan Sampson. I love Trevian Henderson. I love RJ Harvey a little later. Damian Martinez. I'm probably higher on Giddens and Neal, if I'm being honest. But given all the talent that's still left on the board, and the kind of value I deem this pick to be, I'm going to go Trevian Henderson here, man. Imagine the big playability of Trevian Henderson matched with Najee Harris this season. You're going to get the speed. You're going to get the big play-making ability. You're going to get, the yards after, or excuse me, the catching that you're going to need from the running back. I love everything about Trevian Henderson. He's the big-ticket item in terms of big play-making from the running back position this year, and I think this is a smashing good value in the second round. It's representative of what I think could actually happen. I think there's going to be players that slide. We're hoping Colston Loveland's one of them. Trevian Henderson, Judkins, other guys I would absolutely take in the second round. Caleb Johnson I would take in the second round. Of course, both the Ohio State guys. I would take Cam Skattebo or Dylan Sampson, if I'm being honest, as well. This is where I really, really like the running backs, and that's what we're going to go here with in my personal mock draft. Okay. Next up, Chargers now with a tight end and running back. In my mock draft, have some other choices to be made here in the third round. Jalen Royals, a great value, I would say, in the third round. Who knows if he makes it that far. Kyle Williams, in terms of wide receivers, are looking really good in terms of value right now. Kyle Williams, it really depends on who you ask, man. This could be one of the top 3 or 4 wide receivers in the entire class, or somebody that's a little riskier, maybe is more worthy of a day 3 pick. I would take him here, no doubt about it. Jalen Noel, another guy that people are high on. Maybe Chargers looking for somebody a little less slot reliant for their game. But in terms of guys that are still available here, Harold Fenn, another really strong candidate if we didn't already take tight end. It's a strong round, man. If you were needy at other positions, this is the one to go for. But ultimately, we do need wide receiver. You imagine, Justin Herbert and the amount that he struggled last season with the offense needing just so much help, right? The defense was great, but the offense really needed a boost. imagine if the Chargers were to walk away with Colston Loveland, Trevion Henderson, and Jalen Royals out of Utah State, man. Just imagine the kind of damage that he could do even in the first year of all these rookies entering the fold, man. Just like it says here on PFF, strong hands at the catch point consistently, extends his hands to attack the ball in the air. Great route runner, very good route runner, gets good separation versus press. This really is, I'm not going to say the Keenan Allen replacement, because you could say the same thing. Kyle Williams, great separator as well, but he's kind of got, the well-roundedness you need from a wide receiver to really bring that wide receiver 2 element to the table, with Ladd McConkey still serving as wide receiver 1. Really love the fit here. He's going to really help the Chargers out in terms of rounding out the offense, and all of a sudden you're looking at an offense that can really pull their weight, carry their weight in a season where the Chargers defense was so good. Now you got an offense that's really got some juice behind it with Loveland, Henderson, and Royals. And yes, it's a bit risky going, pure offense to start off the draft, but it's honestly what we needed. And I feel like personally, in terms of my choices, this would really bring a next, element to the offense that would help them, match the energy that they have on defense and carry them to at least their first playoff win, if not becoming a serious contender in 2025. Next up, this will be round 4. Chargers again have 10 picks we got to get through, so we got to move a little bit quicker here. Pick 125. This one's pretty easy for me. I already see the player that I like. There's a few players that I really like, actually, so I shouldn't say it's easy. Kyle Williams is a great value in this round. I mean, honestly, if I'd known he was going to be here in round 4, maybe things are a little different with the Royals. But, you can't go looking back now. I'm still very happy with the wide receiver that we selected. But you got a great edge player here. You got a great corner here in Noel Williams. You might be looking for something like a defensive lineman at this point. Ty Robinson's a great selection here in the 4th round. This is a great defensive line class. Ultimately, what am I looking at? I think the guy that really has my attention right now is Savion Jones. Chargers are going to have to find an edge player to rotate this season, perhaps be the guy of the future. I think Jones is going to be one of the kind of player that Jesse Minter and Ben Herbert and all these coaches can really mold into a special contributor in the future. Very high effort player. Is going to give you everything he's got every single down, and that's what I'm looking for. And he's got some nice measurables to him as well. Taking a look, 6'6", 280 pounds. Whatever stats weren't crazy last year. Right? F5 sacks, definitely very respectable. I like the prospect out of LSU, excuse me. And I think, among a lot of really good candidates here, he is the one that kind of stands out. I really do think would bring a nice element in terms of rotation this season. So Savion Jones is going to be the selection there. Now into round 5, Kyle Williams still on the board. Absolutely zero chance of that happening. But maybe we'll remember that for the wild card round here. Ty Robinson still on the board as well. Miles Frazier, a really good selection here too. Other guys that I still think are nice value, Seth McLaughlin, Logan Brown, a great swing tackle option, Ty Felton, another guy, Robert Longerbeam, Ty Hamilton. Ultimately, I think we're going to go with our guy Ty Robinson, who we're kind of already looking at here in the 4th round. I think this is a great value. Again, don't know if he's going to be there, but we're going to take what the board gives us. And all of a sudden, this draft's looking pretty dang good. Started really strong on offense. Starting to dip here into defense now. Who else are we going to go after? Ty Robinson, very nice defensive tackle. He'll be an instant guy that you rotate in to give you some additional help in terms of pass rush. Him and Savion Jones be a great unit there. In terms of my mock draft here as well, too, because, I'm a huge fan of the Cal DBs. You guys have seen that in my previous mock drafts. I'm a huge fan of Dante Thornton late in the draft. Me personally, though, if you see Cameron Jackson is also a really good selection here, but Miles Frazier is just too good of an upside project here out of LSU. A guy that can really compete on the inside, with Zion Johnson, a great depth piece this season. A very minimum. Miles Frazier is going to be the selection here for me in round 6, and it's one of 4, man. We got 4 picks to be made in the 4th round, and I got a couple of guys I do have my eye on. Cameron Jackson, or Cam Jackson, another guy that I love in terms of defensive lineman. 6'6", 350 pounds. It's not the 450 pounder teammate of Cam Jackson. but is certainly a good guy to rotate in with Ty Robinson as well. Chargers needed help on defensive line. I think between the free agents, because we had 2 free agents, let's get 2 guys in the draft as well. Really round that out and make ourselves feel good about the trenches here. Cam Jackson, Ty Robinson. I think that's a pretty good pairing. In terms of the other 2 6th-round picks, I'm going to go with Craig Woodson. You guys know that I love this guy. Very physical DB. 6 foot, 210 pounds, but he'll lay the boomstick, plays plenty in the box right here. You'll see. I think he's the perfect sort of depth option that you want for the Chargers that honestly I think could develop into something quite nice in terms of a backup. Then finally, the last 6th-round pick. A lot of decent defensive linemen. Maybe I would have gone... Oh, we definitely probably want to go corner here, don't we? Yeah, let's go cornerback here. Who do we have in terms of corner? Justin Wally, definitely not too bad. Experienced corner. I think we've gone for the most part Zoff Frazier here. Some of my favorite. Jason Marshall's actually not too bad too. He had a really good testing in the combine. Let's actually go Jason Marshall Jr. We've gotten Zoff Frazier a lot. We've got Nico Reed before. Let's go Jason Marshall here. I think he could definitely be the kind of cornerback that develops really, really well with Jesse Minter and company. And then finally, the last pick in the draft here, Chargers round 7. Are there any flyer positions that we need to take? We took tight end, we took running back, we took wide receiver. Maybe we could take another wide receiver. We got 2 defensive linemen, we got corner, maybe center, wide receiver. Let's just kind of see what we have in terms of value left on the board. I mean, Wally here, I've looked at him a couple of times. Physical matchups. That was the one thing I remember, is that he wasn't as physical as we were hoping. And the Chargers defense is really kind of built behind that. Andrew Armstrong is definitely not too shabby. 6'4", 202 pounds. Maybe that backup, X receiver that you're looking for, because, what we got in Jalen Royals does lack a little bit of size. Drew Kendall. Let's actually go with... Oh, Kiner's not too bad, too. Let's actually go with... Let's go with our guy, Andrew Armstrong. We need an X that can play wide and be a backup at that position. So very much so similar to the Cornelius Johnson pick that we made late last season. So this is mock draft A, my personal mock draft. This is the kind of mock draft that I would do if the board fell the way it did. How do you guys feel about that? That's mock draft A, of course, in the comments. You guys can follow along. Let me know how you feel. Let's go to mock draft B. Now, this is going to be my predictive mock draft. This is what I think is going to happen. And this has a mix of there's going to be some value here, but also realistically, there's going to be some players not available at certain spots, and I have to kind of take that into account for a realistic mock draft. So kind of keep that in mind as we get going here into mock draft B. This is the predictive mock draft, what I think the Chargers are going to end up doing. Now, starting things off here at pick 22 in round 1. A couple of players already off the board that I think the Chargers would absolutely select if they were available. Kenneth Grant, I think, would be a guy. Donovan Izaraku, player that's already met with the team. Shamar Stewart, another player that I think really fits what the Chargers are looking for defensively. Gray Zabel would be on the board for them, I would have to imagine. One of the best offensive linemen, one of the most versatile offensive linemen at that as well. Of course, Colston Loveland being on the board, I 100% would say that is the pick, right? If this is the way that the board fell, I think predictively the Chargers go Colston Loveland here. But also, I've done so many mock drafts. I've been part of some very elaborate simulations that involve a lot of people. I don't see Colston Loveland at Chargers 22 very often. I'm hoping it happens. I really do. But in the big mock draft we did, he was off the board at pick 14 to the Colts. Do I see him available? I hope so. But in this mock draft, I'm going to assume that he doesn't fall to us. Who did the Chargers go with? Honestly, there's 3 players that I think the Chargers realistically select here. The first one probably being Emeka Egbuka. The Chargers, you're probably going to see a best player available mentality here. Egbuka is sneakily one of the best players in this draft. I think he gets overshadowed a lot by some other talent, and even at his own position. But he really does have everything that you're looking for. Outside of the elite size measurables on the outside, he plays outside great. I think a lot of people forget that. Just because he has a lot of success in the slot and he has a lot of snaps in the slot doesn't mean he can't play out wide to an elite level. I think, the numbers in Ohio State are a little bit, intimidating of that, but when he does get the opportunity on side, he does thrive. And that's why I think Ibuka would be a great choice here. Luther Burden also sneakily, like if you want to build something similar to, I don't know, the Niners, with Deebo Samuel, you want that kind of weapon it's very versatile and very dangerous pretty much anywhere. Luther Burden's a great option here. But ultimately, I think the Chargers, they have a mantra that they're trying to go after. They have an idea, an identity they're trying to build, and that's a physical, nasty, trench football team. And that's why Walter Nolen here is going to be the pick for me. I think Walter Nolen, Kenneth Grant, heck, even the Oregon guy, Derek Hammond. I think all these guys very, very high, and Tyleik Williams as well. All these guys very high contenders for the Chargers pick at 22. And I think Walter Nolen would be a fantastic selection here. I think, people are starting to realize his ADP has gone up. His rank has certainly climbed like crazy on PFF. But this is just a freak of nature defensive lineman, man. He's got some of the craziest strength that you're going to see at the position. He brings a new element to the defensive line that you can certainly build around. He's an excellent run defender at this point. I think he's going to develop into a really decent pass rusher as well. Or I should say more consistent. He's a really good player all around when it's on. But it needs a little more consistency to earn that pick of like, man, this is a difference maker all around. So I think Walter Nolen is in good hands with the Chargers. I think he would absolutely thrive in this environment, and the Chargers will continue building the identity they're looking to be in terms of a physical football team. Now, next up, round 2. Again, do the Chargers go running back here? I don't know. Again, they brought in Najee Harris. I don't think that's going to stop him from selecting anybody. Najee's only on a 1-year contract. What other positions are they going to be looking to tackle here? Edge is a big one, man. And Braden Swinson, I have to look at this, dude. I think this would be an awesome selection for them if still available in the second round. Very physical football player like what we're looking for. Decent versus the run. Excellent win rate here, 22.1%. He is a freak. He really is. And it's the blend of speed and power that you're looking for to play opposite Tuli Tuipulotu. He's a huge contender for me. Do the Chargers go cornerback? I think it's a position they feel like they can afford to wait on. But ultimately, I think it kind of comes down to who's the best player left on the board via their own rankings. You could make a case for Trey Harris. You could make a case for Tate Ratledge. You could make a case for Braden Swinson and Benjamin Morrison, and maybe they don't double dip it like Lott or anything like that, but it really does feel like best player is kind of where they're looking at, and it could really come from anywhere. To me, I feel like Braden Swinson's a really good option here. It's not really a player we take too often. I feel like we kind of look around for edge around the draft when I have control of things, but he feels like the kind of player that would thrive with the Chargers. It's a position that sneakily is a pretty big need. Maybe you could convince me that one of the running backs is best player. I would say Benjamin Morrison is probably the best player on my board. Maybe they're willing to wait a little bit, but Swinson really does solve a huge problem for the future. Gives you great upside for this season and seasons to come, and man, like this could be an excellent selection. 9 sacks at LSU last year. We loved his teammate Savion Jones. Braden Swinson is just another level. So let's go ahead and go with the edge player. It feels very appropriate to how the Chargers like to draft. Next up here in round 3, Royals would be a great value here. We all know that. We did that last draft. Kyle Williams, we're expecting to be available later as well. Tate Ratledge is one that I certainly would think is very high on their board here in round 3, built through the trenches. But I do think this is kind of the range where you're going to see some running backs really at the top of their board. RJ Harvey is a great talent, man. He would be so good with this football team. In terms of running back and what they're looking for in terms of identity, I mean, Damian Martinez, this is your RB1 of the future, at least RB1A. He's going to be your early downs back. He's very physical, 6 foot, 230 pounds, just one of those nasty running backs that consistently bring extra yardage to the table. DJ Giddens is sneakily one of the best running backs in this draft too. Needs to work a little bit on his physicality, but he'll certainly get that with the Chargers. Do you find running back in round 3 and feel good about it if you are the actual Chargers? I have a hard time thinking about them passing on Tate Ratledge. He really does fit what they're looking for. Running back also really fits. Wide receiver, Jalen Royals, I would have to imagine, is the pick for them if he's there, but I'm going to say he's probably not available to them in the third round. So that kind of leaves me with a couple options here. I think we either do go with the guard or the running back. And at this point, I think RJ Harvey really does stand out so much to me as a unique and talented running back. He would certainly be a second-round pick in any other draft, which is very high for running back, and I think he would bring, that flavor that they're looking for at running back that would complement a Najee Harris, while also bringing a unique element to his game. It just all kind of feels like it fits. So let's go ahead and go with RJ Harvey there. I think he's a big play kind of player that they're looking for from the position. He's got all the moves. He's got pretty much everything you're looking for, and he would be an excellent addition to the team. And I think at that point at running back, best player available, it's hard to kind of overlook that outside of maybe Jalen Royals. Now here in round 4, the Chargers in the predictive mock draft went defensive line edge. They got their running back. At this point, let's go wide receiver. I'm going to give us a little wiggle room here. We've been pretty fair in terms of who we think is going to be available. Kyle Williams could be a player that's still here in round 4, depending on, again, who you ask. Some people are super high on him. Some people are super low. But this really is the separator the Chargers have been missing since Keenan Allen left. Like, this may be one of the best separators in the draft. Sure, he lacks, a little size. Sure, he doesn't have the outside playability that we're looking for. But, man, if you need a first down in a pinch, if you need a guy who's open, 80% of the time, like, Kyle Williams really is the guy. So I'm going to give us a little bit of credit here. There's going to be a player that falls that we get at a huge value. In this mock draft, where the Chargers seemingly get lucky every year, I am going to go Kyle Williams and say, man, we got ourselves an awesome wide receiver for the future. Next up, Walter Nolan, Swinson, Harvey, Williams. Who else are we going to go after? This is actually interesting because I don't think the Chargers or its fans are going to be thinking this very often. It's not a position that I've hit on very much, considering what we have on the team, and the depth doesn't look too terrible right now either. But I'm actually going to go with this guy, Danny Stutzman. I don't know if you guys, I don't think I've talked about him even once. Maybe I've talked about him once on the channel, but this is a guy that really brings the Denzel Perryman element to the table in terms of linebacker. He's extremely physical. You'll see by his run defense grade, he's absolutely savage in that department. I wish they had like the forced fumble stat and stuff on here. I don't know, man. He's a very reliable linebacker when it comes to attacking the ball carrier. Very good versus the run. He's the kind of player that the Chargers gravitate towards. He's got decent size to him at 6'4", 241 pounds. Not the fastest guy. Definitely a liability in coverage. Maybe that can be, helped in the future, but just feels like a Chargers-esque player. So I'm going to go with Danny Stutzman here in the 5th round as we get close to the Chargers' 4 6th-round picks. Now, this is where things get sketchy. Every mock draft, you're asking yourself, okay, you have 4 selections in the 6th round. How many different ways can I cut this pie? Because I want things to be a little different every time. But it's hard to do that when you've got so many picks. So let's go ahead and start things off in terms of how the Chargers want to build. We're going to probably... Dylan Ferry, was he the zone guy? I can't improve his functional strength. Yeah, I don't know. I think the Chargers at some point are going to go offensive line to kind of help strengthen that position a little bit. There are other guys I think that I still like on the defensive line a lot too, but we did already go Walter Nolan, so that position's already looking really, really good. You could go with an additional running back at some point as well, but I do think this is probably where you're going to start to see the Chargers attack maybe cornerback, very similar to how they did last year. Cone is another guy we're looking at with the size that got us excited. He could maybe, rotate in at that point. I don't know. Black, definitely another, big physical corner that you're kind of looking for. Both of these guys really do feel like they could be a difference maker in terms of special teams. So let's go ahead and go with the upside guy here in Bilal Cone, who does have the exceptional size at the position, does feel like the kind of player that maybe Jesse Minter would like to get his hands on. and develop. And at this point, you know, given how the board has fallen, maybe not a bad value here either. Did we go Craig Woodson in the last one? I think maybe we did, right? He's another player that I think the Chargers would just absolutely love. Jordan Hancock seems to be falling a lot. He's also, again, another player that really does feel like the versatility is there that the Chargers would be looking for. A guy that can play safety, can play nickel. Matter of fact, I think I talked myself into it. Let's go Jordan Hancock here in the 6th round. Gives you that nice flexibility that you're looking for at the position. What else do we need to attack here? We went Kyle Williams. Maybe we could go Andrew Armstrong again. Kind of help with the outside stuff. There's another guy, 6'1", ability to jump up and get the ball. Yeah, I remember him being more of a possession guy. That could definitely be a good value here. This is difficult, man. I think the Chargers need to go offensive line at some point. Jake Majors is also a really good selection. We have 2 more 6th-round picks. I think that's what I'm going to go for. Chargers need to go offensive line at some point. Center is going to end up being a really big position that they have to nail. Miles Frazier, I don't know if he's going to be here, if I'm being honest. I think he would definitely be the pick. But let's go with Jake Majors here. I think they could definitely go for a guy that's really good in pass pro. To be a backup in his first season, let him develop into a guy that maybe, you know, adds on a little weight, finds a little bit more success in gap. It makes a whole lot of sense. And then finally here in round 6, the last pick in the 6th round. Man, this is difficult. The Chargers have proven to me over and over that they're not afraid to double dip when they feel the need is there. The question is it wide receiver? Is it running back? I feel like the value certainly is at running back right now. Rocket Sanders is a great player to be looking at. Donovan Edwards is another player that they could certainly take a shot on. Wide receiver, maybe they do go with the possession guy. Jimmy Horn's also a really good option here. He definitely doesn't have the size. But he was a really good number 2 in Colorado. I don't know, man. Andrew Armstrong really does stand out as maybe one of the last like really good outside receivers. But let's go with the possession guy and Konota Mumpfield. I got to get somebody on the outside that can help, you know, Justin Herbert bring that Mike Williams element to the team a little bit. What was his? Yeah, contested catch rate of 60% is definitely not bad. Let's get a late round receiver in here. He doesn't have the elite size, but he's certainly no slouch at 6'1" either. And finally, in round 6, we're going to do the same thing that they did last year. They went after a guy at a, you know, Michigan that fit what they were trying to do in terms of wide receiver. Let's do it again at running back. Donovan Edwards. I know there's a lot to be said about the guy. The fall off was real. His job definitely dissolved in front of him over the course of last season, but he was a pretty big deal in college football 2 seasons ago, their championship run, and I feel that you know, a guy like Jim Harbaugh would feel the same way. So let's double dip at the position of running back as well. Take Donovan Edwards. And see if they want to mold him into maybe their early down back of the future. But he's, you know, sneakily a very good player still that in the right situation might thrive, maybe with Jim Harbaugh specifically. So here's your mock draft B. This is going to be your predictive mock draft. To round out this video, here's the wild card. This is going to be consisted of a mix of what I think the Chargers would do, could do, probably are going to do, and what I would do. And it could be the best of both worlds. It could be something that we fall flat on our face. But the biggest thing about the wild card, we got to go with different players. Okay, and that's what's going to make it unique from the other 2. Let's go ahead and start off here. 7 rounds. Chargers wild card. This one might not take as long, considering, you know, the video is already about half an hour long. So in this mock draft, I think the Chargers, again, 8 out of 10 times I'm going to say, are going to go Kenneth Grant here if the board falls the way that it does. I think Kenneth Grant is a great fit. I think it's exactly what they're looking for. The familiarity is elite. But let's go with something a little bit different in this draft, man. I think it's something that it could throw a lot of Chargers fans off. It's a position that is a huge need, but I think we all feel we can find maybe some nice players to mix in later. But I'm actually going to go Luther Burden here. Again, it's not everybody's favorite pick. It's not the outside receiver we're looking for. 5'11", 208. What are you doing, director? But again, sneakily, he plays really well on the outside. Just because all these slot players, him and Emeka Egbuka, you know, falling through the Chargers' fingers because they don't fit the narrative that we already have, you know, a slot guy in Ladd McConkey. Ladd can play the outside. Luther can play the outside. The versatility of these players is matched, right? And I feel like Mika Igbokwe, Burden, McConkey, all these guys will just round out the talent you need at the position. So I'm going to go Luther Burden here. And again, this is the wild card round. Burden's going to give you an excellent option in terms of, Deebo Samuel-esque play, but faster, which is hard to believe. The physicality is certainly there. 5'11", 208, that's a stocky wide receiver, man. Like, he's a big boy. A great athlete. Even they, compare him to Deebo Samuel here. Extremely elusive. This is a big play guy, man. And the Chargers, who need more weapons on offense, are going to get that guy in Luther Burden. And he could definitely be their top player on their board as well. Let's go ahead and move on here to round 2. Some players definitely popping out to me. I really love the running backs here. Again, it would be really difficult for me to pass up on one. If I were the Chargers, if you're looking at the pure talent base here, Norman Lott is really tough to pass on as well. Benjamin Morrison would be really tough to pass on as well. But in terms of what the Chargers would do, a mix of what I would do, this is tough, man. This is exceptionally tough. I think the Chargers, what they're looking for, the style of play they're looking for, another position that they kind of need to hit on. As much as I really want to go Quinshon Judkins here, we're going to go Mason Taylor. I think this is a player that the Chargers absolutely have their eye on. And honestly, it's tough because I was kind of looking at Harold Fannin in this draft as well. He's another one of my favorite players, but he just really fits what you're looking for a player specifically for Justin Herbert. This is a zone killer. And that's exactly what Justin Herbert likes to do. He likes to spread the football around, but more so he gravitates towards, players that are open. And he's not afraid to throw the football to his tight end. He's not afraid to, put him in contested catch situations. But also, if he's available, if we need to move the chains, and Mason Taylor's the kind of guy that's going to be able to understand the defense at such a level that we can continue and consistently find himself open versus zone, I think the Chargers are going to have a hard time passing up on that. So let's go Mason Taylor in the second round. Round 3, again, very cut and dry for me. The Chargers, a mix of what I do and what they would do. As much as I would love to go, RJ Harvey here, maybe they do want to go find value at running back a little bit later. Let's go Tate Ratledge here, guard out of Georgia, one of the most physically nasty players you're going to find in this draft. He's a mean bully. He'll find so much success versus the run. Honestly, I think that he would challenge Zion Johnson instantly for starting reps at the guard position. He can also play center. Just feels like a very Chargers appropriate looking player. Here in round 4, a couple of players really do catch my eye, man. But this is tough because I think Savion Jones still would be the kind of player that it kind of mixes in what I want and what they want. But we can't go with the same players, man. And for that reason, I think there's Tyler Batty, another player that I personally watched 4 times in person, also feels like a pretty good fit for the Chargers. But we're looking to find some value at some point. I do see a player of pretty good value here, Jamari Caldwell. Very good player versus the run. He could definitely find a little bit more refinement to his game in terms of a pass rusher, but only logged the 1 sack last year. But in 2023, 6 sacks, so he's certainly capable of it. But at very, very worst, he's going to be a very nice rotational guy to play at nose tackle. He's a pretty good value here, I would say, here in the 3rd round. Him and Savion Jones would be great selections. Tyler Batty wouldn't be a bad selection here, too. But ultimately, let's go with the value, a guy that's really good versus run already. He can get a little bit better versus as a pass rusher. But really does bring the big, physicality that you're looking for from the position. 6'1", 340 pounds. Yeah, I think coaches would really fall in love with those kind of measurables at nose tackle. Next up, round 5. This little mix of director and the Chargers. What else are we going to find here? Round 5, Kyle Williams still there. Kind of crazy, but, I don't think that'll be the case come draft day. Miles Frazier, we already took a guard in this draft. We could go with another center. I really like Logan Brown as well, which is crazy because Tate Ratledge, he's going to give you a lot of flexibility on the inside. Logan Brown, maybe it is a little bit high, but he's a really good swing. Like if you wanted to move on from Trey Pipkins, a really nice option in terms of swing. We haven't gone running back yet, and that's probably one of the later, times that we haven't taken him. What's the ADP right now? So we're at pick 158. ADP of Kyle Monangai is at 172, so we'd be pushing it there. Rocket Sanders. I'm going to do something crazy, y'all. And you guys can tell me if you hate it, if you love it, I don't know. But I think at this point, maybe we do have to go corner here. This does feel like the corner spot as well. Let's go Robert Longerbeam. I saw him on Daniel Popper's mock draft. There's good reason that you like outside corner. Definitely not bad in man coverage. This is the one stat maybe that's I've been like dismissing him a little bit more. The Chargers really ask a lot from their DBs in terms of run defense. But he does have, some good stats behind him. I think that he has a pretty decent ceiling, and this is around the range. I think we're going to go corner. So let's go Longerbeam here in the 5th round. And this is where I'm going to throw the audible in here. I think this is where the Chargers, let's go find some value at running back, and I'm going to take Ollie Gordon here. This is, again, a mix of what I would do and what I think the Chargers would do. The Chargers are not afraid to take on players with baggage. And what I mean by that is there's some players that maybe had some off-the-field issues, like T.R. Tart, that caused him to bounce around a lot. And there's other players that had issues in terms of their game, their play, like Christian Fulton. They were not afraid to add those players to the roster, and ultimately those players thrived. They found new life. Ollie Gordon just feels like a premium candidate to find new life with this team. At this point, with the way that the board has fallen, there's still some great talent that I think if you're looking for a receiving back, Marcus Yarns is great. You're looking for a good running back overall that could turn into like a really, solid RB2 or 3. Jordan James is there, but there's really few guys left where I'm like, hey, this could be an RB1. Taj Brooks, maybe. But Ollie Gordon, and maybe Donovan, if it works out for him, if the Chargers are able to find that potential that was so insane in 2023, 1,700 yards on the ground, another 330 through the air, 21 touchdowns, if they can find a version of that still alive in Ollie Gordon, imagine the value that you're getting out of that position. In the 6th round, let's go ahead and take Ollie Gordon. Find that massive value at running back and see if it pays off. So 3 more selections here in the 6th round. Again, this is where things get tough because, we took Jamari Caldwell. I would love to take Ty Robinson here, but we already took him in the 1st one, right? Yeah, so we can take him in the 2nd one. Who else do we have in terms of defensive line? Let's see, because I do like, we already took Cam Jackson. Harrison Hunt is actually not a bad selection here either. Matter of fact, he might actually be the pick. Let's go with it. I'm going to go with Jared Harrison Hunt here out of SMU. This is definitely a guy that can move around the line, brings you that versatility. He can rotate in this year, and he gives you that kind of, you got the Caldwell for the run stopping. This guy's definitely going to be rotating in as a pass rusher. Ty Hamilton's not bad either in terms of trying to take a risk, but we already have Caldwell. So let's go with Jared Harrison Hunt here. Defensive line. You got 2 defensive linemen, one for the run, one for the pass. I think Caldwell is going to end up being a decent pass rusher too. Don't get me wrong, but I want to kind of round out our options there. And Hunt can definitely play, 3-4 defensive end, giving us the flexibility that we need at that position too. Last 3 picks in the draft. Do we have any swing tackles? I'm kind of hoping Jalen Travis isn't bad. Great pass blocker. He doesn't have what I'm looking for in terms of run blocking quite yet, but he's got like the tools. 6'7", 340 pounds. I want a guy that can play both sides as well, and I think, he got 500 at right tackle in 2022, so he's certainly available as a swing tackle if we need. So I'm actually going to go Jalen Travis here. We need a guy that's definitely able to keep Justin Herbert protected. He doesn't bring exactly what we're looking for in terms of run blocking, but he's not as bad as other guys as we could be selecting here. But I want another swing. I feel pretty good about that. So the Chargers get Tate Ratledge and Jalen Travis at offensive line. They get Jared Harrison Hunt and Jamari Caldwell at defensive line. It feels pretty good so far, man. It's so crazy to see Ty Robinson still here in the 6th round. Last pick in the 6th. Are there any other guys in the 6th round that we haven't already taken? That's the big caveat here. We haven't. Colin Oliver, maybe. Have we taken an edge yet? Kind of, I guess, with Harrison Hunt. let's take a look here and see what we got in terms of edge player still available. I think, yeah, Colin Oliver immediately. I was like, I think this might be the last one of the last options. Yeah, he definitely is undersized, but he could certainly develop. Did we take an edge yet? No, I think that's going to be the pick. Let's go Colin Oliver. A couple of players out of Oklahoma. Him and his teammate Ollie Gordon. Yeah, that one turns out. And then the last pick, this is where I like to take some flyers. Did we already go corny? We got Robert Longerbeam. Let's go ahead and take the Zoff Frazier here. I don't think we ended up taking him in the other picks, did we not? No, we didn't. We're free to take Zoff Frazier here. Or Zay, right? It's Zay, right? Is that how you pronounce it? They say Zay Frazier. Let's take Zay Frazier here. Great project player, 6'3", 185 pounds, very physical. And we'll round it out there, man. So there's your mock draft C. So this is the wild card. This is kind of a mix of what I think the Chargers would do and what I would do. And again, we threw a little curveball in there with Luther Burden in the first round, Mason Taylor. Two really big difference makers in terms of weapons for Justin Herbert. And then all over the place, I think we found some good value. Tate Ratledge, Jamari Caldwell. Ollie Gordon could turn into something. Who knows? So there's your mock draft C. So you guys let me know in the comment section below. What is your favorite mock draft? You got Colson Loveland, Trevian Henderson, Jalen Royals. This one's pretty tough to beat right here, man. Jones, Frazier, Jackson, Woodson, Armstrong in the 7th round. That's a pretty strong draft right there. Mock draft B. This is what I think the Chargers draft could kind of look like realistically. They're going pretty heavy on defense again. Nolan and Swinson. Guys, that defensive line, watch out for that strength, that speed by Braden Swinson. Like that would be disgusting. I'm not gonna lie. Defense, just watch out. You get some really good value in Harvey and Williams too in the 3rd and 4th. This is where I think the Chargers always make me look like a fool. At least this last season, not really, because I feel like we were still really happy with how the draft went out. But we don't get like the big flashy players in the 1st round, but they always make up for it. Like last year, Joe Alt, like everyone's like, yeah, cool. He's the tackle, right? Nothing sexy, but definitely the right move. And then they turn around, they go get Ladd McConkey in the 2nd, and he turns out to be the best Chargers rookie wide receiver in franchise history. This feels a lot like how the Chargers might operate on Thursday. You get the big guy in the middle. You get the edge, prospect at LSU that could really be something special opposite Tua Pelotu in the future. And you still get guys like R.J. Harvey in the 3rd, Kyle Williams in the 4th, right? Mumfield, and Donovan Edwards late to kind of help round out, the risk that you're taking. It feels so Chargers. I'm going to pat myself in the back for that one. It feels like, hey, it's not the sexiest pick, but they make up for it later. And it feels very appropriate. And then you also got that one guy in there, like, who's this Danny Stutzman guy? We already got linebacker. Like, that's going to happen at some point, too. But yeah, pretty happy about that one. And lastly, the wild card. This one is just, it is all over the place. I'm going to say that, but in the right ways. I love the thought of Luther Burden in this offense. Just imagining him and Ladd McConkey together is ridiculous. Good luck defending either or both of these guys. Mason Taylor, it's one of the highest ceiling prospects you're going to find in the 2nd round in terms of the tight end position. I almost said wide receiver. He is a wide receiver, just big old wide receiver. Playing tight end. You got Tate Ratledge, Jamari Caldwell, 2 really good values. You got a great project player in Ollie Gordon. You got some solid depth in Hunt and Travis and Oliver and Frazier. Just all around very solid. So I don't know. You guys let me know. Last mock draft video before the inevitable date on Thursday. You guys let me know your thoughts. Some of your favorites, mock draft A, B, or C, and then last chance to get some of your prospects in there as well as some of your sleepers. We're definitely going to talk a lot about that. Maybe hopefully get a live mock draft on the channel before Thursday so we can all kind of together get some mocks from the chat too. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. If you like what you saw here, hit us up with a like and sub on your way out. We'll see you next time. As always, both up, stay frosty. And remember, we're going to be live all 3 days starting Thursday from round 1 all the way into round 7 in day 3. Big love, Bowl fam.